Street.
John Clay, Lexington Herald-Leader, covers Kentucky, joins us. Paul, Catalina, Craig, and David Smoak, 365 Sports. John, thanks for your time. I want to start with the fact that Kentucky ranked in the top 25, preseason top 25, and it's been forever. Obviously an incredible compliment to what Mark Stoops and company has done. And what's been the reaction among Kentucky fans?
Kentucky fans are very excited about the football season, coming off a 10-win year last year and a bowl win over Iowa, another winning record in the SEC. We got Will Levis back at quarterback, and they got some holes to fill on the offensive and defensive lines. But if they got some young players that they feel like are really talented, they just don't have a whole lot of experience. And if those guys come through, it should be another successful season for Kentucky, and the fans are excited about that.
How has the university begun to heal from the great coach rift of 2022?
Well, I don't know. The healing process will probably take a while. John Calipari has been in the Bahamas. They just got back yesterday. Saturday night, he said that he as he said, I said the wrong thing. Said that he would get together with Mark and that they would be fine. Mark Stoops, the football coach, they would be fine and they would iron things out. But on Saturday, that was after on the press conference on Saturday with Mark Stoops and Mitch Barnhart. And Mark was not backing down from his reaction to John's basketball school comments. In fact, if anything, Mark kind of doubled down on his comments. So from what I understand, the people over on the football side are still upset about it. We'll see what happens now that John is back in Lexington.
John, how do you think that Mitch Barnhart, Kentucky athletic director, kind of handled that whole situation? And is there anything that had previously been kind of a tiff, or was this just sort of out of nowhere for Kentucky fans?
Well, I mean, this, in any athletic department, especially when you got strong personalities, like obviously John Calipari is a very strong personality, and Mark Stoops is a very competitive guy as well. But in any athletic department, especially at a major college, you've got coaches who are telling the athletic director, hey, we need this or we need that to be able to be competitive. We need better facilities, or, we need more money for support staff, that sort of thing. What doesn't happen, but what happened in this case is it spills into the public. With Cal's, with what Cal said. Mitch Barnhart, the AD, he was part of the press conference after Mark Stoops on Saturday. And when Mitch talked to us, clearly Mitch is annoyed by the whole situation. He feels like that is publicly, hurt the program from the and Mitch has done a lot of good things, especially with the total sports program. And you just got the feeling that he's kind of put out with both parties. As far as anything that kind of led us to think something like this was about to happen, no, not really. But it basically goes back to ever since the loss to St. Peter's in the NCAA tournament, Calipari has been talking about, hey, we need to upgrade our practice facility. People have come from other places. He keeps mentioning the Philadelphia Phillies came in and looked at Kentucky's facilities, and they were wowed by everything, but they kind of said ho-hum to basketball. It's our understanding that Mitch Barnhart told Cal that's not a top priority right now. We have other things that we've been working on for a long time that we want to get done. So Cal's basically said, I'm going to raise the money myself, and he sort of campaigned to do that. Only in this case, he drug football into the discussion, and that's where I think I keep calling it an unforced error. I think there was an unforced error on Cal's part.
So the last 61 years, nobody's had a better record than Mark Stoops in Kentucky football. Blanton Collier about the same, and, of course, the great Bear Bryant before that, and they're having to deal with this?
Right, yeah. Mark is going into this is his 10th season. No Kentucky football coach has been there for 10 seasons. He needs one more win to tie Bear Bryant. But really, Mark made the comment on Saturday, some other programs might have been, but this program was not born on third base. And from what I understand about what's going on over there at UK, they're kind of using that in the football side, they're using that as a rallying cry. See, we're still not getting the respect we deserve. And, coaches, they love the us against the world thing. So I think they're kind of using this as a rallying cry over there that, people are still not giving us enough credit. We still have a lot to prove. So I think it's that they're using that as motivation as well.
I love it. I don't like it for Kentucky to deal with it, but I love the fact Mark Stoops is confident enough where he is. He's been there for as long as he's been to sit there to a guy that we know Kentucky basketball and its tradition and basically fire back?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're in the locker room, you think, that you say, this guy's got my back. This coach has got my back. He's fighting for me. And so, yeah, I think it's a rallying cry on the team. And that's Mark's personality. And I think Mark, I think he said, he showed his players, he showed the fans, and there is a diehard football following, even through the bad times. There's a core group of Kentucky football fans. And I think Mark showed them, I'm not going to take a back seat anyway. I'm not going to back down from anybody, even if it's John Calipari. And, from his standpoint, I mean, you're out trying to recruit. And, other schools in the SEC, of course, we know nobody uses negative recruiting. But if they did use negative recruiting, they're telling prospects, why do you want to go to Kentucky? It's a basketball school. And now they're going to tell them, why do you want to go to Kentucky? Even the basketball coach said publicly, you're a basketball school. They don't care about football. And that's what Mark Stoops is fighting against. So, I was talking with somebody else. What if Mark Stoops was to say, yeah, Kentucky's struggling right now in basketball. They just had a 9-16 season and they lost to St. Peter's. You should put, football, there should be more interest and more resources put into football. But as Mark said the other day, I stay in my lane. I think Mark feels like he could have made some comments in the past, but he didn't do that. So he took offense that John did.
John, this is a team, though, that schedule-wise, outside of a couple of early things that will be tough for them, it kind of sets up for them. Does, in your opinion, kind of where the momentum will hinge on winning at Ben Hill Griffin, a place they have not won in a long, long time, and then winning again when they go to Oxford?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those are two big games. So schedule, I think that the schedule does set up well for them. They have 8 home games. They do go to Florida early in the year. They did beat Florida a couple of years ago, which was the first time they had beaten Florida in Gainesville in a long, long time. So they do have some confidence that they can get that done. Billy Napier, I think, is going to do a good job at Florida, but it's still a transition period there. It may take him a year or two to really get the Gators going. So that's an opportunity. They lost to Ole Miss in the COVID year in Lexington, 42-41, a really tough loss for Kentucky. That's a big game. South Carolina, Shane Beamer had a good first year at South Carolina. Kentucky's beat them 7 out of the last 8, but I think that'll be another key game. So, I think Kentucky's goal is they play Georgia on November 17th here in Lexington. I think Georgia's still head and shoulders above everybody else in the East. But I think Kentucky's goal is they want that game to mean something on November 17th when they play them. They may not beat Georgia. I don't think they're quite in Georgia's league. Like I said, I don't think anybody in the SEC East is in Georgia's league. But they would like for that game to mean something as far as who goes to Atlanta when the two teams play in late November.
John, the beat writers always know a bit more than just kind of the general stories about a team. And so what I mean by that is if people talk about Kentucky football, a lot of the time it's going to be about the quarterback and Levis, and certainly he's one of the big stories. But outside of Will Levis, what is the story to you for Kentucky football heading into 22?
Well, I think there's a couple. One is Chris Rodriguez, the running back who ran for over 1,300 yards last year. He was hit with a DUI, pled guilty to a DUI from back in May. They won't comment yet about his availability. Will he be suspended for any games? Although we've been able to watch one practice, he was running with the first team in that practice. The other question is, as I mentioned earlier, is the offensive and defensive lines. They got 2 new offensive tackles. They moved guard Eli Cox to center, so they got an opening there in the guard spot. That the big blue wall, as they call it, has been a strength of the offense. They need some reinforcements there. And on defense, they lost Josh Paschal, second-round pick for Detroit, interior defensive lineman. They also lost their nose tackle. They've got, like I said, some young guys who were heralded when they signed them, but now they've got to step up and show, that they were worthy of those clippings. Another guy is a true freshman, Deion Walker, out of Detroit, who everybody's really buzzed about on the defensive line. I think those are it always starts with the trenches, and I think that's going to be a big key to the season, how the offensive and defensive line, how those young players perform.
John, on the Sikkim365.com in the premium section, they posted the top 25, and then they posted how everybody voted. Of course, Baylor is covered, Sikkim 365. That's what we do, but we try to cover everybody. But I was asked to ask you, I think you had Baylor ranked 22nd. They're 10th in the AP poll and about the same thing, I guess, in the coaches poll. And it's not like they don't have some things they have to replace despite having both the offense and defensive line almost all back. You had them at 22. What did you think about Baylor?
I mean, I like Baylor, and it's hard to tell on the preseason vote. I mean, you're not going to make everybody happy with your vote. Probably could have voted them a little higher. I don't have anything against Baylor. I think Dave Aranda's a heck of a coach who's done a heck of a job, especially last season there. And I fully expect them to be a factor there, in the Big 12 race. Especially in the preseason when you're going off of what you think is going to happen, it's hard to know. But I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year that vote makes me look bad, and Baylor probably is closer to the top 10 than I had them.
I responded by saying this. There's a couple of awards that I vote for, and it's made public. And a lot of times you're not voting to piss off a fan base. You're voting to hopefully.
Well, the season's definitely here.
Yeah,
We're complaining about poll votes. Yeah.
And it's great. But my point is that I there have been times, I'm sure, when a fan base is upset about a ranking or whatever early, and then at the end of the year, I'm not saying yours proves out to be the case or not, but at the end of the year, a team might go 7-5 and struggle, and nobody's going to contact the guy that voted him 22nd and say, hey, by the way, I was wrong. And that's part of the fun, great passion of college football and fans.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And those of us who vote in the AP poll, especially in the modern era where you've got social media and where those votes are made public, you're going to hear from fans that are upset. That's part of what makes it fun. That's part of what makes college football fun, because of the great interest that's in the sport and the great fan bases. And certainly Baylor has one of those.
My favorite response to people who go, do you even watch all of these games? And I'm like, do you? How can you?
Good point. Might have to use that. Might have to use that one. Might have to steal that one.
It's a great argument. It's a great debate. It's great for talk shows and even message boards and social media. I have a historical note about Kentucky and what Mark Stoops has done. Since their first year ever, 105, 6, or 7 years of football, they've had 4 teams win 10 games or more. Now, teams play more games now than ever before. Bear Bryant did it once. Fran Kersey, is that right, that did it once?
Yeah,
as well?
Fran Kersey, right.
And then Stoops has done it twice, and he's done it twice in the last 4 years. That's where he's got Kentucky football, and that's impressive. We appreciate that. Anyone else with John Clay? Thank you, John. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, guys.
John Clay, Lexington Herald-Leader on the Calipari Stoops catfight, and also that's pretty damn impressive if you